My name is Peter Waters, and I'm a member of the Executive Board of the Charleston Animal Society and Chairman of the Annual Meeting Committee. My co-host for this event is my friend here, Lil Buck. This is our 144th annual meeting. To put that in perspective, when the forerunner of Charleston Animal Society was formed in 1874, Ulysses S. Grant was president. 11 years before Grant was president, my great-great-uncle, Alva Darling Waters, was shot in the leg at Gettysburg and lay wounded for 3 full days and nights before medics got to him and amputated his leg. You can imagine his pain and suffering. My co-host for today's meeting suffered much the same fate, only worse. This 8-month-old puppy was shot near McClellanville and managed to survive for several days on his own, limping around, leg infected, dangling, alone, scared, and in pain. He was taken to Charleston Animal Society, provided emergency care. His leg was also had to be amputated. My uncle lived another 40 years and became a postmaster. Buck, too, is doing well and has been lovingly adopted by the Simmons family of Charleston, who are sitting here right in the front row.
Quiet.
All the treatment was paid for by Toby's Fund, incidentally. Buck's life was saved and changed by the Charleston Animal Society. This organization is simply amazing, and the one thing I've learned in my time on the board is that everyone connected with this organization gives 1,000%. Charleston Animal Society not only saves animals, but also changes lives. As we celebrate our 5th year of no kill, no harm, no more, animal organizations around the state and the country are watching our progress and beginning to follow our lead. We are a leader. I want to commend CEO Joe Elmore and his finance team, who do an absolutely fantastic job of getting grants and donations, allowing us to continue doing good we are doing now. Shortly, we'll hear some of their successes. Numbers are often boring and sometimes hard to relate to, but these numbers you're about to hear are staggering. This year, we sheltered over 9,000 animals. We adopted out over 5,000 animals. There are over 750 unpaid volunteers working to save our furry friends. We have over 500 foster families that take animals into their homes on a temporary basis to prevent overcrowding the facilities, and then somehow are willing to say goodbye. In classes and events at the Charleston Animal Society, children are introduced to the proper way to treat animals that may well have far-reaching effects on their lives. You'll meet 2 young women who run a truly unique and amazing business that finds homes for many of our sheltered cats.
Yes.
Buck's life was saved and changed by the Animal Society. It's amazing how many people have been affected by the Animal Society. The next thing you're going to hear from is an amazing woman that I just met, and she's the executive director of a $4 billion a year company that's just made a huge donation to the Charleston Animal Society. A special thank you goes out to the Charleston County Public Schools and those here at the School of Arts for welcoming us to this beautiful facility. I'd like to thank Debbie O'Hara and Dan Crossy, who put this event together as I rode their coattails. With that, Little Buck and I call the 144th annual meeting of the Charleston Animal Society to order. Thank you.
Too many animals, not enough resources.
They said the only choice was to accept defeat.
But they don't know Charleston Animal Society. You believed in us. You helped us with resources to fight overpopulation, to help families keep their pets.
To treat the sick reunite the lost, and to save every savable animal.
Because everyone deserves a second chance.
And together, we made the impossible possible.
Spay, neuter, and other animal health services. Communities you know by name across the Lowcountry, places like Orangeburg, where Charleston Animal Society helped rescue more than 60 cats caught in a heartbreaking hoarding case. A brand new initiative, Helping Hands for Rural Paws, will bring love and attention to these cherished places. Our Simon Greer Mobile Spay-Neuter Clinic will be hitting the road in 2018. Destination, these rural, forgotten communities. Charleston Animal Society will bring its compassion and expertise to these animals who deserve to live long, happy, healthy lives.
We have at the Charleston Animal Society. Let me take you inside. It's an amazing place. They line up out front to get into this place, and it's so much fun. And they've already adopted over 650 animals that have all gone through the Charleston Animal Society. So people come from far and wide to visit the POUNCE CAFE. We have some visitors here.
Hello.
Hey guys. And you are from where are you from?
We're from Virginia, Connecticut.
Wow. So how many will fit in your suitcase to go home? There's also this amazing bar where you can come in and have you can buy t-shirts, you can get a beautiful pastry, you can have your choice of coffee or tea or a glass of wine.
It's super, super rewarding. Like, bringing this kind of experience to customers is one thing, and then seeing the change that we made in these cats' lives is completely, totally different.
You really have made
Patricia Henley, and I'm a member of the board of the Charleston Animal Society. Today I have the distinct honor of telling you a little story that I hope will warm your hearts. A little more than a year ago, two young, ambitious women contacted the Animal Society with a dream. A dream that Ashley Brooks and Annalise Hughes believed would result in hundreds of cats being adopted. And another part of that dream is that people would actually stand in line and pay to do so. Well, not only would they stand in line and pay to do so, but they'd stand out in line in the rain for this opportunity to come to a place that Ashley and Annalise wanted to call a cat cafe. How interesting, cat cafe. For any of you sitting out here today who are familiar with animal rescue, you know that adopting cats is more challenging than adopting dogs. So when these two dreamers contacted the Animal Society, of course, we were enchanted. We were delighted. We like to dream big too. And more importantly, their dream resulted in something remarkable, phenomenal. Today, let's fast forward to the 2 years ago or so of the dream. We're now at March 11, 2018. As I said earlier, a little more than a year when Ashley and Annalise contacted the Animal Society, when we first heard of their dream, their audacious dream, and get ready. Launched was the POUNCE Cafe that has, as of today, adopted 672 cats. This, ladies and gentlemen, is not just a dream. This is an amazing effort. Charleston Animal Society is so proud to have teamed with POUNCE Cafe, Cat Cafe, and their amazing staff. And as you just saw, the Cat Cafe is located in the heart of downtown Charleston, which means that thanks to tourists, dozens of our community cats are now living in happily decked out homes. And of all places, for the best places, Wyoming, California, Pennsylvania, and of course, Ohio. Please join me as we honor Ashley Brooks and Annalise Hughes with the POUNCE Cafe as the 2017 recipient of the Charleston Animal Society Adopters of the Year.
Hello everyone, I'm Charleston Animal Society board member Hal for support of the organization for over a decade through a variety of ways, including socializing dogs, helping potential adopters learn about new pets, staffing off-site events, fostering at-risk animals, traveling to Columbia to advocate for laws benefiting animals, chairing the building expansion project, serving on the volunteer advisory group, governing the organization through its board, and so much, much more. The gift of Aussie's time, countless hours, in both direct service and leadership roles continues to be a model for all of us. Over the past 5 years, Charleston Animal Society has become a national model for life-saving, having led Charleston County to become the first no-kill community in the Southeast, a feat many people thought unattainable. The Animal Society has achieved much, including being the most honored charity in South Carolina for the past 5 years, and leading the state in animal welfare. Aussie's contributions to these achievements are second to none. And it is my honor and delight to present Aussie Gear for the Charleston Animal Society Volunteer of the Year Award. Congratulations.
Of Charleston County becoming the first no-kill community in the Deep South. You know, some folks refer to it as Southeast.
Among government entities in the Low Country, in recognizing that the overwhelming majority of pet owners consider their animals part of their families. The City of North Charleston has consistently demonstrated its support of Charleston Animal Society's initiatives and activities over the years, and has provided key sponsorship of the Charleston Animal Society's famous chili cook-off held at Riverfront Park. The chili cook-offs become one of the largest non-profit festivals in South Carolina. Charleston Animal Society calls North Charleston home, and we are so proud to honor this great city with the 2017 Community Ambassador Award.
I'm the Vice President of the Charleston Animal Society Board of Directors and the Chair of the Strategic Planning Committee. It is with much honor, respect, and appreciation that Charleston Animal Society has selected the City of North Charleston as the recipient of its Community Ambassador Award. The Community Ambassador Award recognizes a business, organization, or agency that goes beyond the call of duty to support animals in our community. As you saw in the video, the City of North Charleston has taken the lead among our larger communities in Charleston County to work in partnership with the Charleston Animal Society. Several of the city's elected officials and staff are here with us today, and we welcome them. On those few occasions when we need the mayor's ear, he makes himself available immediately to us, listens intently, and promptly responds. With the city's partnership and support of our outreach efforts in the fragile communities of Chicora and Cherokee, our Pets for Life program was named Best in the USA last year by the Humane Society of the United States. Most recently, with the loss of North Charleston's canine officer, Mojo, really touched me, the city honored and memorialized his service in the manner befitting any officer in the department. We will also honor and memorialize Mojo for his service. Here to accept the award on behalf of the city is a true champion for animals. Let's give a round of applause for Mayor Keith Summey.
Young man is an island, and without the support of my wife, Debbie, who's here with me today, she's the type that I learned when I became mayor 23 years ago. If she's got an idea, she's going to tell me. When I try to go to sleep at night, I'm still getting it in the ear. And we're dog people. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. We currently own 4 dogs. We have 2 labs, a Springer Spaniel, and a Silky Terrier. And I can tell you, next to Debbie, the most comforting person, and I do say person, in my life is my Betty. When she climbs up on my chest at night in my recliner and lays her head down and looks at me, my pulse rate drops, my heart becomes stronger, And I know that no matter what I say or what I do, I have her love. And that's what makes our animals so unique. They love by habit. We lost our last Silky 2.5 years ago, and we swore we'd never get another one. And maybe I shouldn't say this, but on election day, we picked up our Silky that was flown down to us from New Jersey at the Charleston International Airport. So winning the election was important, but getting me another baby was also working with the Animal Society has been an honor and a privilege to the city. That it is housed in North Charleston, which is sort of central to the area anyway. Being able to make land available for them to build the original facility and now to expand, because our children do not. A lot of our kids are not exposed to animals that live in farms and areas like that. We want to expose them to that. We want to expose them to life beyond their backyard. And working with the Animal Society, we're looking forward to doing that. The Animal Society, I think, is by far one of the finest not-for-profit organizations in the state of South Carolina. If I were Donald Trump, I would say in the world. And dare him to challenge it. But I want to thank the Animal Society. Those of you who work within the Animal Society, please stand. The Bible teaches us when you do it to the least of these, my children, you've done it unto me. God bless.
We'd like to introduce the next video just with a little bit of a segue here, and this really epitomizes the story of adoptions. Gil Grooms is the person who saved this animal, and this animal, Chloe, is the person who saved Gil Grooms, and I'll let the video tell you the rest.
I was working at the Charleston Animal Society chili cook-off last November and got there early to get set up. I went to go see the dogs that were brought to the event with no intention of adopting. Then I saw Chloe, a 2-year-old yellow lab, sitting in her crate. She looked a little spooked by everything going on, but she stole my heart. I sent a couple pictures to my 23-year-old son, Zach, who was living with me. And of course he said, "Dad, you have to bring her home." Zach was raised with labs. I had several while he was growing up, but it had been almost 10 years since my last one passed away. I knew immediately that I wanted to give her a good home. Chloe was nervous at first, but warmed up to us pretty quickly, and we both loved her dearly. About 3 weeks after I brought her home, the unimaginable happened. Police say my son was killed when a drunk driver ran a stop sign on the Isle of Palms connector. I truly believe that God put Chloe in my life for a reason. She has become so much more than just a pet. She's given me a reason to get up in the morning on days I didn't want to move, and she has been by my side when all I could do was cry. Chloe never ceases to amaze me with her ability to know what I'm feeling. There are days when I'm overwhelmed by sadness or having an especially bad day, and she'll curl up next to me and rest her head on my foot. There's never a morning that I wake up that she's not by my side. I treasure the picture I have of Zachary and Chloe, and she has made the worst time in my life a little more bearable. Every day I am thankful that I walked over that morning to see the dogs. and I can't thank Charleston Animal Society enough for making pets like Chloe available for adoption.
Up in that area of Virginia and the entire South, if you will. Something about Suzanne is that Suzanne will tell you, we're not a traditional grant-making organization. We don't fund programs. What we fund is life-saving success. And it's such a breath of fresh air to the animal welfare field. And also, during this time, Suzanne and Petco Foundation is on the front lines every day. And if it weren't for Petco Foundation and Suzanne and Susan, their whole staff's efforts out in San Antonio to assist Houston, the community of Houston, during Hurricane Harvey and that devastation that ensued there, I just don't think the number of lives that were saved would have been saved without their efforts. I could go on and on about Suzanne and Petco Foundation, but I'm going to tell you what Petco Foundation directly means to us in South Carolina. When we dreamt No Kill South Carolina, and I said from, maybe not this podium, but some podium somewhere, that is it too much for our plate? Yes, we know it's too much for our plate, but how can we turn a blind eye to the tens of thousands of animals across South Carolina that are suffering needless euthanasia when we know that we can make an impact towards that? Petco Foundation, we went to Petco Foundation, we told them what we wanted to do, and Petco Foundation believed in us. And with this year's funding of No Kill South Carolina, Petco Foundation becomes this 144-year-old institution's all-time leading grant maker. And I'd like to introduce and thank Suzanne Kogut with Petco Foundation.
I've adopted a love for landscaping.
At the Petco Foundation, we believe when you adopt a pet, there's so much more to love about life. That's why since 1999, we've brought pets in need and people together, with 4.2 million pets adopted, and counting. The Petco Foundation, proud supporter of love.
Wow, thank you. I'm just incredibly honored to be here. I also should warn you all that, and it doesn't matter how many times I have the opportunity to speak, I think I always sort of feel like little Buck who was on stage a little bit before, and I want to run off as quickly as I can, but so bear with me. I listened as Joe introduced who he was, and I saw how much I feel like we have some things in common. I never say I am the executive director. I say I have the privilege of serving as the executive director of the Petco Foundation, because it truly is an honor and a privilege. First I want to say, because I'm in my role at the Petco Foundation, I get to come to events like this with people like you that are working so hard every day to save lives. What an incredible accomplishment. 5 years of No Kill Charleston. So, we have very similar, we have shared goals at the Petco Foundation that you do here in Charleston. And just listening to Joe, we believe that no kill, life-saving, whatever you want to call it, we believe that no-kill communities are possible. We believe it's absolutely the way of the future, and we believe that a no-kill nation is just around the corner. Because of things like what you're doing here, we can no longer say that no-kill's impossible, because you've proven it is. And one of the things that we also believe in, and there's a lot of national organizations, and all of us want to do everything that we can to support your efforts. But in all honesty, we can all have a message of we believe in a no-kill nation,
But really, without you and without every community coming together to make it happen, it's just a philosophy. They're just words. Because how we're going to achieve this is by community, really coming together and really creating that no-kill community. All the organizations together, and it's amazing to see all the awards that you gave, that you recognize it is about the community. Everyone's got to do their part to help, and clearly that is what you've achieved here in Charleston. You know, so since the Petco Foundation's been around since 1999, and during that time, we have invested over $200 million in life-saving animal welfare organizations throughout the country, and I think we're incredibly proud of that. But in doing so, I think what we're proud of is what Joe said too, is what we really look at, and when we make decisions, because even with all that, and we're really, a lot of that investment has come in the last few years. It's about $30 million annually. But we're looking for those organizations that are making the most significant life-saving impact with their resources. It's not enough to just do something, but we want you to do as much as you can with the resources that you have, and always strive to do better. And what we often see is that it's really driven by the leadership in the community. While it takes the entire community to come together, someone has to inspire the community. And we look for that leader who is driven with just a relentless determination to succeed, a relentless determination to save lives. So that's why we invested in the Charleston Animal Society, because we found that leader in Joe. So I just want to recognize probably didn't even know of all the things that you actually have accomplished here, you know, until listening. Tell one thing after the other, always striving to do more, never letting up. I mean, it is really incredible what you as a community, and Joe, what you have done, and all the staff at the Charleston Animal Society. So I just really we all want to say thank you. You know, Joe mentioned my background in Charlottesville, Virginia, and for me, this is actually, you know, separate from my role at the foundation, but it's actually personally very special for me to be here with you all today, because as Joe mentioned, I was the executive director of the Charlottesville Albemarle SPCA, and that was an organization that was, you know, they had the animal control contracts for the city and the county. And I took that job not having any experience in animal welfare. I was a lawyer for a while. And I decided, well, I wanted to devote the rest of my career to helping animals. And in 2005, I have to tell you, there weren't that many organizations out there that had proven that being an animal control facility, that you could create a no-kill community. There were a few small ones, but there weren't that many out there. And so I remember calling my sister. My sister lived in Texas at the time. She was in Houston, and she had been volunteering with some rescue groups. And I called her and I said, hey, I'm going to take this job. You know, they still had a fairly high euthanasia rate. In fact, for cats, it was over 53%. And I told my sister I was taking this job, and she was so upset with me. She said, how could you be see, I'll choke up too. How could you be the person that's responsible for killing animals? And I said, nope. I want to be the person that's responsible for saving them. So I took the job at a time when, you know, I went in and interviewed, and they told me that they had lots of issues. They had a high euthanasia rate. They just moved into a new building. They had lots of financial problems. They didn't realize, they still had a huge debt on the building. The public, their community thought they'd already paid it off. Volunteers and the staff hated each other. We had a lot of PR issues. And I'm like, that's the job for me. So we made a lot of changes. In the first year, and way too many to tell you all about them because we're going to be having to have dinner then if we're going to stay here all the time for all those changes. But suffice to say, within a year, we were saving 90% of the animals. Changing the script. And because I've always believed words matter. And I believe words drive action. They drive what we do going forward. So we had some changes. And because I also think words drive what we don't do also. And so as we had meeting after meeting about what we were going to do, I had a couple of basic philosophies that we had to adhere to. And first and foremost, we had to eliminate some words from our vocabulary. The words we eliminated were, it can't work because, and it won't work, or we can't do that because, and it won't work because. And every time you brought up an idea, the minute people started to say and give you the list of things, it was just stop. We don't have those words in our vocabulary anymore. Instead, what we chose to have in our vocabulary is really to be always focused on solutions and not excuses. And that really is what drove our change forward. Since then, Charlottesville has not only celebrated 5 years of a no-kill community, they've celebrated 10 years, and they're still counting. It's a way of life, because their vocabulary is, this is how it is. They don't know any different, and I don't believe they'll ever go back into anything different. And I actually think there's some similarities with Charlottesville and Charleston, not to mention just the name too. Every time I said I lived in Charlottesville, they were like, oh, Charlotte, no. Oh, you mean Charleston? No. Charlottesville, right? So if you can go back on the map, please, and don't even put, yeah. So I actually think what you do in one community really impacts other communities. So in 2005, this is the map of Virginia. If you look at the red areas, those are the areas that were euthanizing 90% or more of the animals in their communities, in their organizations in those communities. The white ones, they didn't even have an animal control. They were just going to another community. If it's dark blue, they were actually at a very high save rate. That was 2005. Let's take a look now at 2016. The incredible thing about Virginia, and this is another initiative that the PECO Foundation will have, it'll be called Data Saves Lives, but Virginia has been, the state vet there has had reporting for every organization in the state of Virginia, whether you were animal control, an SPCA, a small rescue group. Annually, you reported your numbers, what's coming in and what's going out. And that is why they have such incredible data. You can look at trend lines, see who's doing good, how, what's been impactful. They have one line that I always love. Everyone would always say things. Having that data always will help you debunk the myths, the things that people say why you can't do things, right? And one of the things is as we save more lives, we're actually gonna be placing all these aggressive animals, right? Well, the state of Virginia, you can look at the number of bite cases that are coming into shelters. And while this has been going on and they've been saving more lives, the actual number of bite cases has also declined. So data is so important to what we do. Data, it will enable us to focus our resources to the communities that really need it the most. And the other thing is we can put estimates out there all we want, but we can't save what we don't know. We should never be saying, hey, we think we're euthanizing about 1.6, about 1.7, 2 million, whatever. Like hundreds of thousands of animals don't count. We've got to get the data so we can save every one of them. So, but again, that'd be for another dinner conversation. So I think the takeaway from this is, what you're doing here. And this is why we supported, the No Kill South Carolina initiative too. What you're doing here is so incredibly important not only for the animals in your community, but for all of the animals in your state. And it's also to set the bar for the nation and really to move one step forward in progress in achieving a no-kill nation. So I want to just take the time to thank you all for your commitment. Please don't ever give up. Don't ever let anyone say it can't be done. Continue to lead by example and change the script for South Carolina. Let's do this together, because no-kill South Carolina will bring us one step closer to a no-kill nation.
Pictures of her on chocolate. It's 5 pounds
Chocolate?
of
Peter made this.
5 pounds of chocolate. Oh my gosh. That's funny.
Thank you all for coming.